Last year, the federal government spent over $765 billion on federal contracts. Now, I know you heard me say that before, but did it really sink in? Let me put it in perspective for you. Amazon, the largest e-commerce business in the entire world. Their gross revenue last year, $717 billion. What about Walmart, the largest retailer in the world? Theirs, $681. Now, Apple and Microsoft together combined, their revenue does not even equal our defense contracting budget. So let's look at this side by side. I'm gonna give you a second. Now, you know what's different from all of these companies? The federal government has to award to you. They have to give you a piece of the pie. Not because I said so, because it's statute. We have to award to small businesses. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's first start with appropriations and how they work. Now, all federal funding starts in the same place, with you, the taxpayer. Now, I know you bust your ass day in and day out just to hand over a large portion to the government. That money goes over to the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury then hands it over to Congress. Congress then does their thing and decides how they want to spend it. Once they have this appropriations or earmarked money, they then hand it over to the contracting office. Once we receive the money, we're concerned with three things: time, purpose, and amount. So let's get into time. Time is, how long is this money good for? Unlike the companies that I mentioned before, we have a time limit on when we can spend the money. Then we have purpose. What was Congress's purpose when they sent that money to us? What can we purchase on? What can we buy? What goods and services? That's the appropriation behind that money. Then we have amount. They give us X amount of dollars. We cannot exceed that amount. That's amount. Now, all of this makes sense to you why? Or you care about this why? Is because this is how we structure our acquisitions. Now, the fiscal year for us starts 1 October and it ends September 30th. So you're gonna see a lot of requirements coming out in the fourth quarter of each year. That's July to September. All this money, if not used, then we lose the money. But we can't just spend the money aimlessly. We have to have a specific bona fide need, which means the government must require this item or service before we can spend the money on it. Now let's talk about mandatory set-asides, your piece of the pie. Now, to understand this, you have to understand thresholds. Let's first start with the micropurchase threshold. This is set at $15,000. So anything below that $15,000, we're not required to set it aside for competition. All we have to do is to make sure that the price is fair and reasonable, and we can swipe a government purchase card. This is a credit card that we pay you directly for the good that we received. The next threshold I want you to be aware of is the Simplified Acquisition Threshold. This is set at $350,000. So anything between $15,000 and $350,000, we shall set aside for small businesses, for you, your company. The only reason we do not do that, or we can go away from that, is if we have reason to believe that a small business cannot perform this good or service. Now, what about procurements over $350,000? Same thing, same type of mentality. If we suspect that 2 or more small businesses complete this service, we have to set aside for small business. Even further, if there's social economic class of 2 or more in that same, we have to consider setting aside even further to one of these social economic classes. This is money in the bank for you. Why do we have to do this? Because Congress mandates us to do this. Because you are the backbone of the American economy. When you get contract awards, you stimulate the economy. And that's exactly what we have to spend our appropriated funds on. It's also important for you to understand that the government will pay more to award to you as a small business. Let me explain. Now we understand that you may not have the overhead, the capital, or maybe even the resources to provide everything organically. So sometimes you may have to go to a large business and use them as a resource. And from there, you add your profit, and we're willing to pay that higher premium to award to you because you, along with another small business, have shown capability that you can perform this good or service. So we're willing to pay that higher premium. Yes, we know we can go directly to the large business, but because statute and law states that we have to set aside for small businesses, if two or more show capability, we're willing to pay that higher premium. Also, what else does that mean? That means that in the event that a large business is competing with a small business and certain evaluation criteria, we add a 10% increase to the large business to make the small business on equal playing field. Let me put that in perspective. So if I have an object that the small business bids $98 on and the large business bids $93, we add 10% to that $93, and to make it fair, they're now at $102. So that means we'll award to this small business at $98. Yeah, we could have saved that $5, but because you're a small business, we're going to award to you. Now that's not in all evaluation criteria, but in some there is structured that way. That's important to know. Now let's get one thing straight. We as the contracting office, we want you to win if you're the best fit for the government. Now, how do you make yourself the best fit or even attractive? You speak in the same language as we spoke to you in the solicitation. Use the same terminology, use the same language. Make it easy for us to decipher what you can provide to the government. Make sure you're hitting the factors and the sub-factors in your response. All of these things make you competitive for award. Before making any award, it has to be defensible, and everything has to be documented. Everything. Let's start with our market research. We have to talk about what the market told us about this requirement. Then our solicitation. Why do we solicit this way? Why do we make this set aside? Why do we open it up for everyone? We then have to talk about our evaluation. Did we evaluate based on this solicitation information? And then we get to our award. Did we award based on the evaluation that also talked about it in the solicitation? If all of these things are in line, we have a good contract award. If anything is offline, you have the ability to protest. So what we have to do is to make sure that what we communicated is how we award it. Nothing in between. We can't award because we like someone, or they had a nice suit on, or they wrote with a nice pen. All that is illegal. We award based on the best interest of the government and who is the best fit for this requirement. The last thing, which is huge, is sources sought. Always respond to sources sought. What we're doing in this stage, we're doing our market research and we're communicating, hey industry, we have this need as the federal government. Can anybody provide a response to it? If you're the first to respond or respond at all, we remember that. This tells us that there's capability out there. Someone, you in particular, can provide a response to this. So before we go to a solicitation, we already have that in our back pocket. And as I mentioned before, our documents have to be filed. So your response is automatically going into our documentation of a capable source. Before I go, let me give you some nuggets. I'm talking real gems. Things that's going to elevate your chances of getting a federal contract. First, past performance. We understand that you're a small business And you may not have relevant past performance. That is okay. We cannot rate you negatively because you do not have past performance. So if there's something that you have capability to produce to the government and there's an RFP, respond. Respond. Do not disqualify yourself before submitting yourself. Next, fourth quarter. As I said before, the fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th, which means the fourth quarter, our game time, starts in July. Over 80% of our spending happens from July to the end of September. So you're gonna see solicitations left and right. So the best thing for you to do is to make sure your capability statement is up to date, your NAICS codes are up to date, and you're properly registered in SAM. These three things can help you get contract awards. Whoever said federal contracting was rigged, they were right. They were. It was rigged for you, the small business. There's policy, there's statute, and there's laws in place to help you and protect you as a small business to win these federal contracts. We have mandatory set-asides, we have price preference, all in favor of you. The system was built for you. The only question is, will you take advantage?